Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to today's morning ramble. And today's ramble comes from just something that came up in a coaching session. I can't remember if it was earlier in the week or last week, but I was exploring the idea with a client that we we often, when we realize how much of an impact our thinking has on our experience of life, that in fact, ultimately, when we come to begin to see, oh, my entire experience of life is being created via this creative force of thought, then almost inevitably and quite logically, there's an assumption that starts to come in that, well, if I just had better thinking, I'd have a better life. So we start thinking about our thinking to get better thinking, as if thinking plus thinking equals better thinking. But instinctively, we kind of know it works the opposite of that. Thinking minus thinking leads to better thinking. In other words, the less we have on our mind, the more we find and hang out in our inner quiet. And this is quiet not as in the opposite of noisy. This is capital Q quiet. This is the space of quiet through which all thought passes. It's the space within which thoughts arise, feelings arise, experience arises. And so the less we have on our mind, the better ideas we tend to get. The less we have on our mind, the better we do. And I was looking for a way to illustrate this with my client. It occurred to me, if you've seen the Avengers movies, there's a character, Thanos, and Thanos collects the Infinity Stones and uses them to save the world by, in his mind, this makes perfect sense, randomly wiping out half of the population of the universe. And it is completely random. And his assumption is, well, if we have half the people, half the living beings in the universe will just function better because the resources and blah, blah, blah. Well, putting aside the plot of the Avengers movies, I probably should have done a spoiler alert, but at this point, the movies have been out for a while. What if instead of wiping out randomly 50% of humanity, Thanos had wiped out 50% of your thinking? So 50% of everybody's thinking would be gone. And it wouldn't be a particular group, it would be completely random which thinking disappeared. Do you think your life would be better or worse? Richer or poorer in experience? More or less enjoyable? And everyone I've run this by so far is pretty clear. Oh my God, if just half my thinking could just be taken away, I'd be fine. I'd do so much better. And so your experiment for today, if you want to do an experiment today, is to just abandon the quest for better thinking. And just imagine half your thinking is gone. It's just gone. And what would it be like? How do you navigate without half your thinking? Another version of it you can do is if your inner voice, if your inner dialogue was in a language you didn't speak, if it was in Chinese if you speak English, or Spanish if you speak Chinese, or in some language you didn't speak, how would you still navigate the world? Because you would. And share any observations in the comments section below. Have fun, learn heaps, happy exploring, and I'll talk with you soon.